Hey everybody, it is me, Dylan from the Jiu-Jitsu Show, and today we're going to talk about how to avoid injury in the sport of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now, injury in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, unfortunately, is pretty common. It's a very physical sport, obviously, with submissions and, falling body weight from takedowns and guard pulls and stuff. It's not like every injury can be avoided. But today I want to go over a couple tips that I have learned, that I've watched people use and that I've used to effectively avoid injury over a long period of time. Most people in the sport, you train for long enough, you're going to get injured, but I think this is how you minimize that risk and how to stay strong and healthy so you can keep training the sport that we all love. So my first tip is to stretch. This is a pretty obvious one. Stretching keeps your body strong and limber, and you need to be pretty flexible for the sport. Now, a lot of the times you don't need to be super flexible, and once you get warm, you'll feel flexible, but just stretch, okay? It's generally a good idea in any sport, but for this sport in particular, where there's a lot of bending for things like rubber guard, gogo plata, even if you don't use a move, this is a sport where you need to be very flexible. Building on that, I would say hold each stretch for 30 seconds. I can put a couple studies in the description. But yeah, basically you need to hold each stretch for 30 seconds in order for it to actually have any sort of effect. And also foam roll. Foam rollers I've seen in pretty much every gym I've ever been to. They're proven to be effective. And even if your gym doesn't have one, you can buy one for your home. They're not very expensive. You can pretty much find them at most stores. They're pretty cheap. Find on Amazon, whatever. I'll put a link to that as well in the description. All right, my second tip. Not every roll needs to be do or die. I see this with mainly white belts. A lot of people, because they're less comfortable in the beginning, they still are, they're spazzing out, a general term that I hear used a lot. Just calm down, breathe when you roll, and realize that you're training in the gym. You're not going to get a medal for beating somebody up. If you are in your gym, you're getting a medal for beating people up, you need to move gyms, because that is not a good environment to be in. And I can't imagine that you have a lot of long-time members. Okay? You're not trying to hurt your training partners. You're trying to get better, and you're trying to help them get better. So remember, calm down and try not to get hurt, and try not to hurt them. All right, for tip 3, I say, and this is connected to tip number 2 actually, avoid those who feel the need to roll hard. Now, maybe you're the kind of person who already tries to not make every roll do or die. You're already a pretty chill person and a pretty chill training partner. Avoid those who feel the need to make every roll super hard. Now, there's nothing wrong with training hard. The problem is when it's every single roll and people are consistently getting hurt. If there's someone on the mat who is consistently hurting people, it's not your job to make sure, it's not your job to beat them up and make them stop. Okay, the owner of the gym or the teacher, whoever's running class, needs to talk to them, okay? Because, typically we're talking about adults here. Clearly if it's a kid's class, it's a different situation. But I'm talking about it in the context of adults, just regular people trying to get into this sport. The instructor needs to talk to them man to man, adult to adult, and they need to get to the bottom of it. But it's not your job as a student, especially as a beginner, to sort these things out, all right? This needs to be handled between the instructor and the student who happens to be hurting people, whether it be a high belt, a low belt, whatever. All right, tip 4. This one is a little bit more controversial in the community, but I believe it is beneficial, and that is to lift weights to generally strengthen your body. Now, lifting weights has been seen as kind of unnecessary in the sport. Personally, I believe that it is necessary in order to just generally keep your body strong. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to lift super heavy or need to be huge, okay? You still need to be safe, and you just need to be healthy. I believe it helps prevent certain injuries. I think it keeps your shoulders stronger if you train them. I believe, it has a lot of benefits that can help you out. And, just being stronger can help as well. There's a reason why the guys at the top of the sport are big dudes, because they lift, and it obviously does have a benefit being strong. Now, obviously, that's kind of controversial in the sport, but for now, I'd say yes, I think it does help. But if you're going to start lifting, I'd say do it with an experienced friend. Do your research. Don't just go in there and try to lift super heavy and get yourself injured, because that's obviously not conducive to staying away from injuries. That'll obviously just make them. All right, tip 5. This is less of specific advice and more just general advice. Be smart, man. You love the sport. You want to keep training. Don't make stupid decisions. Don't do things that will obviously increase your chance of being injured. If you want to keep coming in the gym, you want to do better, don't do stupid stuff. That's just what it is. If you really love the sport and you really want to keep getting better, you'll always have it in the back of your mind, and you'll know whether or not the decision you're about to make is a good one or a bad one. And it's really up to you to determine if you want to keep training. Alright, I really appreciate you guys listening until the end. I hope to keep making this content, and really thank you for the support on the last jiu-jitsu video. Got over 100 views, which is big for this channel, and I just thank you all for watching, and I hope you all stay injury free. Alright, I hope you all have a good day.